95.3 FM, W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
TMS Cleaning and Maintenance says stand up and salute our local men and women who are our first responders, from EMTs, fire and police departments that serve and protect our communities to those serving in our military. Remember those lives lost and show our appreciation for their dedication. Courtesy of TMS Cleaning and Maintenance, 954-864-4055, Pembroke Pines. Always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. Insured and licensed, commercial or residential. Call the pros.
Freddie, you there?
954-864-4055 or 786-385-7900 and ask for Mike.
Yes.
Okay,
Have you
about a
tried
minute.
investing in the stock market and haven't done very well? Come into Online Trading Academy. Have your investments lost money and you're frustrated because the only thing your broker says is ride it out? Hop in the car and get to Online Trading Academy. Pro investors show you how money is made in up, down, and sideways markets. You'll see the best way to pick stocks, options, futures, and Forex using a patented rules-based strategy taught only at Online Trading Academy. How to find the right investments, how to time the market, how to protect money from risk. For over 20 years, thousands have learned how to invest from home at Online Trading Academy. Come in and see what this school's all about at a free half-day class. They're all over Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, Stewart, and Port St. Lucie. Seating is limited, so call Online Trading Academy now to win a pair of tickets. 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510. 954-668-2510.
What you want to know. What you need to know. Talk 1470. WNN.
The following program does not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff, management, ownership of the station. Jay and Janine are expressing their own opinions, and such is not a substitute for psychological or mental health advice. If you are experiencing an emergency, please hang up and call 911.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything personal development, coaching, health, and the law. I'm your host, Jay, here with co-host Janine.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum. And welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show.
Welcome.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
I'm your host, Jay Farrow.
And I am Janine Davis. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to stir up some energy right now. We're going to invite everybody like us to get up and stand up, because we've been on our tuchuses all week long.
All week long.
So we're just going to shake some of it out, shake some of that energy out. And just wanted to say welcome to all of our guests. And today we want to invite everybody up front. And we're committed to this, to get a caller in today.
Yes, please.
888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470.
Join us. We want to hear from you. We want to know what you want to talk about. We want to know if you have any questions. We want to know what's on your heart and mind. Just give us a shout.
And we have an excellent show for you today. Something we're going to be talking about, and I wrote about it last night on my Facebook feed, is the finish line.
Yes.
And before we get to that, I'm going to just do a little quick check-in, because I know that some of our listeners and people that are reaching out on Facebook are wanting to know if we're off the ledge, so to speak. And I got to say is that we've definitely turned a corner in our business this week, or at least in the last couple of days.
Actually, like in the last few minutes.
Actually, in the last few minutes. I want to, if I could plug somebody.
Right.
But we want to thank those who participated in making that happen today.
Yes, thank you very much.
And but it does feel, it's amazing how much of that I'm okay is tied up to what happened in that bank account. Because in that moment, what just happened before we came on the set. So if you don't know, something happened to one of this online account where we have our merchant processing.
Right, our credit card processing hijacked our funds.
Our funds on a Friday. Can you believe that, on a Friday?
No. Okay, maybe that's a little karmatic, but yeah, on a Friday. And I was none too happy. That's when this smiley face became a massive frown. And as I was sharing with our producers here, who we really love, Jay he's an amazing friend. He's, as you know, one of my best friends. But he's not mushy, right? So he's not going to like put his hand on me and say, it's going to be okay, the kind of thing. So instead, though, what he does is he uses humor to
funny.
Interrupt my pattern of I hate life, I don't know what's going on, I'm scared or whatever, and he'll just say something excessively inappropriate, and I will just think it's so funny and start laughing.
It's all about timing.
That's his way of attaboying me.
And I'll be honest, in that moment. And I don't. If anybody can connect with this, maybe because it is Friday and you do get the electronic transfers into your bank account. I guess when you get a salary, which
I don't know. I no longer know what that is.
You do take a salary. I'm sure that there's a feeling when you have money.
It must be a great feeling
when you have that money in your bank account. But when you press that button. And it went from one thing to the next thing, and it's like you see that, and it's like, oh, we just covered payroll. And that's how it's been for like the last couple of months. I will say this though, that us working as a team together and showing up for one another and being a stand for one another. I mean, it is nothing like support. I mean, and to know that you're going through it with a team.
Yeah.
And everybody's committed to the same thing. Everybody's committed to the same goal and to the same vision. And I think what's really been supportive is as we've become clear on the vision for the firm.
Yes.
To support clients against business bullies.
Yes.
It really has. It's resonated and.
Bullies be gone.
Yeah. Right.
Your day of reckoning is coming. We've got your number.
But it's all coming together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
it's true.
And to see it all come together. Just in the glimmers that I have in the last couple of days, it's been powerful.
Yeah.
And I wanted to share this, and I think I shared it to you in the car. I'm connecting the amount of work that I'm doing in the gym and now yoga. I've done hot yoga twice in the last 2 days, and I've been running again.
Thank you, Lord Jesus, for inventing hot yoga.
Yeah.
We're not sure it was Jesus, but some spiritual person invented it.
I saw a human being do some things this morning, like with the instructor. I didn't think. I have a tremendous amount of respect for. They call them yogis. I'm a yogi. Do you know that?
Well, because you do yoga, yes, you're a yogi.
I became a yogi because I got a. Hold on, it's on my keychain. Yeah, I'll show it to you later.
So if your keychain says so, then it must be true.
Then these pieces of information of what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm really starting to connect to. In this second year of transformation, I am now seeing a direct connection between my cardiovascular exercise and some yoga, and then the results showing up in the firm.
Right.
Back in January, we had one of the biggest wins that we had in the firm for
I think ever.
Right. And that followed a couple of weeks of me doing my first long distance running. Mm-hmm. And then there was a couple of other times, I think maybe in February, where I did the same thing and then something showed up. But now when we recommitted some days ago about getting back on the routine and going back on the diet, going back and getting into exercise, I'm seeing a direct correlation from the physical exercise to the results that are showing up, and it's absolutely remarkable.
Well, something that came to me just now as you were saying that, I was trying to think of like the correlation, because I'll share with anyone who's listening that I've had a bit of a challenge now getting back to the physical side of things. My strength in all of this transformation thing is really the faith portion of it, and to a great extent the mindset of it. Yeah, I get tired, I get frustrated, whatever, but I can always sort of like reset myself pretty quickly from things, and the on the emotional part, I've got that. That's my strength. My weakness is, tying the whole body, mind, and spirit stuff kind of thing. I have a hard time sometimes connecting with the physical aspect of it. Like once I get off my regime, it takes me a really long time to reconnect and get back to it. So you support me with that. And I see that the results is what I think is the continuity and the fluidity of the results stemming from that, though, is because it is your opportunity to create the link of mind, body, and spirit.
You're saying when I'm like...
when you're in the flow of your exercising,
exercise?
when you're so it's about the exercise and it's not about the exercise. It's the whole thing together. It's the recommitment to self that I think pushes the pendulum and makes the difference.
I can definitely see the correlation when I'm on, especially this. It's just for me. I found everybody. I've said it has a code. You have to crack your own code. There's not a one-size-fits-all world.
Right.
And if you're going to look to change your life, go after goals, you listen to, there's plenty of people out there talking about what to do, what not to do, but finding what works for you. Mm-hmm. And when I found, my story was in January that I could only run that 1.2 miles.
Right.
And then I read that book by David Goggins, and then I went on the treadmill. Literally, I was halfway through the book, and I literally put it down. I went to this one chapter talking about he's only at 40%, and he's running all these marathons. And I was like, well, let me go after it. And my running went from 1.2 miles to 3.3 miles that day. And then all of a sudden we had the biggest win we ever had in the office, and then another win. And it's now something when I've come back to the running that this stuff starts to show up.
Yeah. And you feel better about you feel more centered. There's less anxiety. There's a lot of biochemical things that go on when you are doing those exercises. And again, you're committed and connecting to you. And that's the thing, Jay and I were talking about it yesterday, and I shared with him that I'm personally very frustrated that when I feel up against the wall or there's a lot of stress going on, the first thing I drop is exercise, which is the stupidest thing because, everybody tells you that exercise is the most important thing to help you manage your stress. But I disconnect from my body straight away, as if it doesn't even belong to me. It's really weird, and it's a challenge that I have, and it's something that I want to get to the bottom of. But, instead of going on this huge chase to see what it's all about, I will recommit myself to getting back into the gym, back moving my body, back being good to my body, and the answers that I'm seeking will come organically through that process, no doubt.
And we had a powerful conversation last night about just this, mm-hmm. and in my way of supporting you, I said to you, number one, how it was working for me, but also how I've seen things drop off with you, mm-hmm. And in January, we talked about this concept of accountability buddy, and we talked about, and it's been asked. I think Freddie even asked this question. It's like, would you be honest with somebody if you see them falling off? And it's not easy to be honest with somebody and say, hey, I can see that it's not like you say, you have to do it in a loving way, compassionate way, because otherwise you're not going to be hurt.
Right. Especially for someone like me. You know that about me already. If you're not telling me with some level of kindness, I'm not interested.
I share that. I mean, if you're going to speak at me, I'm not going to ever. I don't get you. Mm-hmm. But I look to connect to you, and I shared. What I'm finding. The topic, which we'll hit right when we come back from the first break. Is a concept that I was thinking about for the last, week and a half, but I really wrote about it last night, about the finish line.
Yeah, after reading your post, it's something that I personally really connected to and thought, this is a huge light bulb moment here. This is an actual breakthrough if anything existed, such a thing existed.
So we're going to talk about the finish line, and I should say the finish lines.
Yeah.
That we all create in our life, and mm-hmm. how I'm finding they just don't support me when I define them. So I will be right back after this break.
Thank you for listening.
Farrow Law Firm. Are you in default with your loan modification? Has your rate adjusted? We can help. Reach out to us today and we'll put our 10 years of foreclosure defense experience to work for you. Call us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show.
Welcome
here
back,
Friday
everyone.
afternoon. I want to remind all of our viewers and listeners that give us a call.
Please give us a call. Wait, did that sound like begging? Okay, if it did, then just I accept it.
565-1470. Want to hear what you're going through in your life, if you're an entrepreneur, business owner, or just going through the human experience. I mean, this is safe space to bring up any topic that you want to talk about as far as what it's like to go after your life and what's coming up for you. One of the things that I was writing about last night.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
The concept of a finish line. And when I said I think about all the finish lines I've ever had in my life, and I'm thinking about the tests that I took when I was growing up. I think about going through law school. I think about even getting someone to say yes to go out on a date, saying yes to be my girlfriend, or staying. There's the finish line where I'm on the treadmill, or there's the finish lines at work. I read one of the things that had me write about that. We're part of a lawyers group of about 500 law firms in the United States, and there's a listserv and there's emails. And the concept of this group is to be your mindfulness as you're practicing law, actually building your law practice.
Yeah, it's
creating happy lawyers is the concept. One of the goals of this program is to make you a $1 million law firm, and that's like a big deal when someone hits the $1 million mark. Yeah. And somebody wrote an email to the group saying, "I've now reached $1,030.30 yesterday." And he's like, we were going to pop champagne, but I don't even feel like I don't even know why it's even the mark. It's like I don't feel like there's anything to celebrate.
Really,
and
that's interesting.
And I was thinking about that and I was thinking about this concept of finish lines before that, and how often that I was going after something and I did just enough not to get fired at a job. I did just enough not to get broken up with. I did just enough to pass to get a grade on the test. Because that was all that was what the finish line was. I knew that I had to get from here to there, okay, and then to do it in a certain period of time. I would only play hard enough to beat somebody else, as opposed to compete with myself.
Right.
I would only perform so well in order to achieve the trophy and not necessarily the accomplishment. And I closed my post last night saying that I have a bunch of finish lines. I don't know if they support me, because it only makes me do so much and thinking that there's an end to everything. Right.
You said so many powerful things in that post. And if I can interject for just a second, one of the things that I thought that you brought up that was so amazing about what you wrote about was that, keeping the finish line in mind was the only goal. And it's almost like you didn't appreciate the process or understand the kind of human being that you were becoming in the process, or the process was only to get to X, Y, and Z. And there was a lot missing in between, even being present to the miracle of creating the steps that go into reaching the finish line.
I was just like, let me get through life instead of let me play life.
Yeah.
The process is something that I ignored. I did. I looked at I knew where the red sash was going to be at the end of the race, whatever the race that was, and I only played enough to just get there, and then whatever I associated what I should do to get there. In other words, if I was supposed to beat somebody in the race, if I was running against them, if I was supposed to get a grade on a test, that's from getting from here to there is all I wanted to know about.
Right.
The rest of the stuff I just checked out on the process.
Well, and I think too is you were kind of also talking about how it kind of zapped a lot of the joy as you were just living, because you were so focused on getting the attaboy at the finish line that everything else sort of paled in comparison. So there was like no even experience or no joy in experience.
There's the race. There's let's say the competition. There's the goal at the end of the race. Mm-hmm. Okay, but falling in love with where you are at that moment, where you can embrace what you're going through, instead of just getting through it for the purposes of getting through it.
Right.
I'm going to share this, and it's kind of an embarrassing story, but it's not really that embarrassing anymore. I hated class growing up. I hated class. Even through law school, I hated class. I used to hold my breath.
Oh,
I used to hold my breath in class, like the last 10 minutes, like for a long time, till like I would see stars and black out. Because the way I figured, I only had to get to like the classes were about 45 minutes or something like that. So I had about 35 minutes mark. I bared through that somehow, some way, and then I would hold my breath, so that way I could just check out for like the last 10 minutes of class. Because I just was not that enrolled in the learning process, and I had all kinds of stories why I didn't like class, but I just didn't enjoy the whole process of getting there. I just went, let me get this part over with. I'm bored. I don't want to handle it. And so I came up with little exercises to knock me out along the way.
We don't recommend cutting off your oxygen supply in order to get through something, but listen, everybody's different.
I mean, I did that in third grade. I think I went all the way through law school. I mean, but it's going to, it goes to exactly what my mindset was.
Right.
Right. I don't think
it's something to be endured and tolerated and bear, as opposed to what were you there to learn, right?
Or to actually enjoy what I was doing. Enjoy the fact that I was in an air conditioning room reading books and discussing legal stuff, as opposed to being someplace else.
No, I mean, you could be in Afghanistan fighting for your life.
Afghanistan. I was just thinking that.
Yeah, like as an Afghani.
Right.
Kind of, like there's so many other worse things that you could have been enduring.
So going after the goal and you have your why, having your purpose is all one thing, but the whole process of becoming is something that I completely missed for most of my life. I checked out for it. Right.
And actually it made you angry that you had to go through it. If we can, if we're going to get real here for a second, I think that, doing the process itself made you angry. You almost resented the process. Like, wait a minute, what do you mean I can't have the prize? Why do I have to go through all this stuff? And I've already done X, Y. What? I don't want to do Z.
Right.
I should have already gotten it just doing X and Y.
This is even more, I say, vulnerable. This is why I never really like to win, or I never like to cross the finish line. I never liked the feeling of being a winner, or because even graduating from law school, which I did at cum laude, but I know in my heart
that you were summa.
That if I would have worked, not worked, if I would put my heart into something, and this is really where I'm going with it. If I had put my heart into things that I know, I would have walked that stage with the knowing that I had pride in what I just accomplished, because it truly was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
As opposed to me, Jay, just being smart and getting through whatever that was.
Right, skating through like you always have, because you have the intellect to carry you with the minimal amount of effort.
So that is not, you're right, it's not satisfying.
It's not as satisfying as knocking yourself out with all of your heart and soul to achieve something. It's different.
It feels so inauthentic to know, to get someone to hand you a trophy. It's a big deal for anybody else on the planet to get something. Right? It's a big deal.
It's a huge
But for me,
deal.
I know I didn't work for it. It just, I didn't feel like I put my heart in it.
Yeah.
And that's where I really talk about the finish line robs me of my heart. The finish line robs me, I think, or the concept of it is not supporting me in putting my heart in it, because I'm like, if I know that I have to get to the end of this hallway, and that's all I'm going to do, and I can cut out after that, then I'm just going to quit after that, because my default was comfort, safety. I want to go to sleep, literally and figuratively. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about it, that finish line keeps me small.
Well, the way you have the finish line keeps you small, because there's nothing wrong with the finish line in and of itself. It's the meaning we assign to it.
So you're saying, speak more to that.
Okay, so what I mean by that is that there's nothing wrong with the finish line. We're going to have finish lines at certain things. You're doing the marathon, right? Let's say you're doing the marathon and you cross the finish line. The finish line is a neutral thing. It's, what did you make that finish line mean? Were you running the race just to get to that, which is wholly unsatisfying? Or did you run the race to test yourself, to give it your all, to do whatever? That, the meaning we assign to any given thing is ultimately what we experience or don't. So, and the reason I thought that your post was so fascinating is because we all have finish lines. We're all enduring something to a certain extent. But what I loved about your post and what we're speaking into now, and kind of what I'm, interjecting here a little bit with what I just said, is it's all the meaning that we assign to any given thing that creates or destroys our experience in anything that we do.
The other thing I was writing about, this has been a banner week for my writing, partly because I just say that I was in frustration, pain, hurt, whatever you want to.
Lots of frustration and anger.
Angry. Anger's a good one. Yes, I was angry.
The 50 moods of Jay: anger and just more anger.
So
sometimes,
I wrote quite a bit this week.
Yeah,
and one
it
of
was
the things
awesome.
where I said that this existence is either a raw deal.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to mostly.
Or a divine experience. All right,
and you spoke in that post about the choice and about the meaning that you assign it. Because the truth is, we don't know. We're only guessing. We're supposing.
So how would I, coach? How would if finish lines are a big deal for me. Whatever.
I get it.
I want to get to the end of this case. I want to get to this. I want to get into this relationship, and then it's like, oh, I got it. Now what do I do with it? Did I really want it in the first place?
You appreciate it. You cherish it. You find out if you really wanted it. That's life. It's like, it is a little bit like gambling, right? We're rolling the dice all the time. We're making more calculated risks as we get older and we hone our skills and different things, and we become more self-aware of what moves us, what doesn't, whatever. Jay and I will often, he's like, how can you know certain things? Like, I'm particular with maybe who I'll date, or I'm not going to waste my time on this one, whatever. And he'll say, how can you do that? Because by now I know better. I know myself. I know what my needs are. And I'm already aware enough where I don't want to BS myself or another person. And it takes a lot of discipline to do that, because that other person is perfectly lovely and they're giving me attention. And I'm a human being too. And I love it. I love the attention. But I know it's not going anywhere. And so, you make discernments. But sometimes you have to get into that relationship to be like, nah, thank you though. Or sometimes you get into that relationship and you're like, hallelujah, this is my person. Either way, it's the experience. Right? So, there's nothing wrong. My point to you is there's nothing wrong with the finish line. And I love the idea of that, though, because it's something that we can all relate to. It's, what are you choosing to make that finish line mean? Is it the end of something? Can't you imagine winning and enjoying? What would that be like?
It's something that's foreign to me.
Okay.
I mean, winning and enjoying it, knowing that I put my heart into it.
You know what's foreign to you? What you just said.
Putting my heart into it.
Yeah, not the winning. You've already done that. But winning with your heart and soul into it, that's next level.
We're going to catch this on the other side of this break.
Yeah.
I like where this is going.
Me too.
I feel very uncomfortable. That's why I know it's going.
We did not plan this at all. I made you feel uncomfortable?
Farrow Law Firm. Are you in default with your loan modification? Has your rate adjusted? We can help. Reach out to us today and we'll put our 10 years of foreclosure defense experience to work for you. Call us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
So welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show. And,
welcome back, everybody.
It was pointed out to us that we're almost in not a disagreement, but it's I'm saying that the finish line concept for me is unsupportive. You're enrolling me in a different conversation.
I'm enrolling you into, or I'm trying to highlight the fact that the finish line is actually neutral. What you made it mean is what is vilifying the finish line for you.
What I made it mean? I didn't make it mean anything. Okay, here's where I was going with this one.
Okay. Tell me. Lay it on us.
I had my story growing up. Maybe I've watched too many movies, because that's what I'm talking. Like I think that my concept of life ends up is someone walking into a sunset. You know, with the hero, and he's got the girl, and they got the money, and they got the car. You know, and
the 2.2 babies.
And well, that's not the.
Oh no, that's not the movie you're talking about.
That's not the movie I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's not, no. But I'm saying that in society, I'm looking at things on, like, you have a show, which is like a 3-hour show. You're on, it goes through its natural process, and it has an ending.
Got it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that way,
True.
so every single journey that I'm on has this bell type thing where it has a beginning and a middle, and it's got an end.
Right, like a novel.
And then it closes down. I mean, those are, when I'm looking at finish lines or trophies, you know, basically that it's the chase after something that I will never obtain because it will never be good enough for me, or I'm chasing it because I know when I hit that sash, I can stop running. This concept comes to me. I beat myself up with it all the time. Is that I'm lazy. Because all I want to do is hit that finish line and coast.
Okay, so that is probably sums up how we all feel about it. I think that we do have this fantasy that we'll work really, 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 really hard at something, we'll obtain it, and then it'll just be easy.
Because that's what happens in my year of transformation. And we were talking about this before the show.
Yep.
I truly believe that it would take a year where I would have everything, the financial piece, the business piece. We'd be on stage next to the biggest people in personal development, because don't you know that's what we deserve for only doing it a year. And because you know, I used to sell but I used to tell them a story about me being in the hospital, thinking that would earn me the right to be on stage. But that's not. That's like the smallest little blurb of why I think that I have a voice to say something about transforming your life.
Right.
It's the year that we went through. But my expectation, and this is
of what that year would yield.
Of what the year would yield. My expectation is that there would be a finish line. And I think that's more what I was speaking to about my concept, is that at the end of the day, I expect to do all of this work, to run those miles, or to go after that.
And have your parade. We talk about the parade very often.
I want the parade.
Unless everybody, come on now.
Yeah, they clear the streets and I just like walk down music.
Right, it's a whole big old J parade. The marching
bands thing, I like. They have like high school marching bands. You can roll them. They're cheap too. You know, there's a bunch of high schools. I would love that to happen when I would have gone through the year of transformation. My book would have been done. My business is transformed. My body's absolutely perfect.
The perfect girl is in your life.
The perfect girl is in my life.
Yep.
You know, Mitchell. Can we do a TV timeout right now? Can we do that?
Let's do a TV timeout.
Okay. Yeah. I want to say a special thanks to a good friend of ours, Kathy.
Yes.
Who came into my office and met with us about business and met Mitchell the dog.
Mitchell is Jay's 8-year-old Boston Terrier.
Mitchell has been through more than any dog
ever should or could or would. Mitchell's now enjoying his retirement.
And part of his retirement...
From being at the service and beck and call of Jay Farrow.
He gets to come to work every single day in the law firm.
Yeah.
And he's the greeter of the law firm. Mm-hmm. So he greets all of the guests, all of the clients with a tennis ball that they're now required to throw. One of our Kathy comes in and she's in her mood, she's in her stuff, and she's writing about this. This is why I'm saying this. She's not.
Right.
She wrote about this on a blog.
On a blog, she actually blogged about Mitchell.
There's a blog about my dog Mitchell that it was absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
And with a picture of him, and he's so happy. He's got the tennis ball. I just want to say, Mitchell, I love you. You know, that was just.
I know. Mitchell reminds me that, Jay went on the other day about how this whole life is a farce and blah, blah, blah. He was having he was having a moment.
I said more than a farce. I said this thing is a raw deal. I was on the raw deal side of things. I was like, this
Right.
universe could care less.
Right. It was a lot of victim energy, actually. Right? Kind of.
I was angry.
Right.
I got to ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
Victim, showing up human. What's
Yeah.
the other side of victim and showing up human?
The victim of showing up human is that I actually am accountable for everything that's going on right now. In other words, life doesn't happen to me, I happen to life.
Right.
And from that perspective, basically you can own anything that's actually happening in your space, no matter what. I had the privilege of telling a judge one time, this is a couple of years ago, Judge, I get to come see you today. He's like, you get to do what? And I said, he's like, you get to, or you, and I explained to him that we get to because we're not 6 feet under, and it's a privilege to do things in life. It's a privilege to show up in court. It's a privilege to live your life. The get to attitude is that I'm accountable for it. I created. There's a concept like if I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I wear my blue suit and I do things intentionally, I can create the kind of life that I want to create. Therefore, I'm not a victim to life.
Right. You're not at all. And you have agency, you have power, you have choices.
Is that the human side?
Actually, it's probably the higher self side.
Okay, so I want to say
Right, so the higher self is the other side of when you and I chatted.
Right.
You said,
About
today
the
I'm showing up human.
Yeah.
What's the other side of showing up human? Because showing up human was not the most positive side.
Right. It was the anger. It was the frustration. It was the giving in to fear. It was the, like, I've had it. I'm pulling out every last hair in my head. That was the human. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I got it. I got the right answer.
Oh, please.
I got the right one.
Do it.
Okay, now for me, the human side is 2 + 2 = 4. And what I mean by that is that as a human, it's like you see things in a linear way. If things aren't showing up for you, then then the story creates like, okay, nothing ever is going to work out for me.
Yeah.
Or I can't believe this, or traffic is always bad. Or this is life. 2 + 2 = 4.
I can never catch a break.
Right, life is happening to me.
That was me today.
The life is happening for me side of this is that we do have a subconscious mind that we can create things, manifest things. The other side of the human is the spiritual. And what I call like
the higher self.
You have linear thinking, which is the y = mx + b, if you remember writing a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And then the spiritual side is the E = mc², which is like all this theory about relativity.
Right, and infinite
physics.
Possibility.
Right. So I think that the difference is. Oh, yes. We have a question.
We have a question.
Well, I want to know the difference because now what you're saying is if it ain't working for you, if you're having a bad day, that's the human side.
Right.
If you have children and everything's great and you ate lotto, is that the spiritual side? Does one thing or the other equate to? I think that was Dawn's question. Is what is the other side? How does it equate? Is it things, events happening in your life, or is it you?
It comes down to interpretation.
Yes, and how you react to them or not react to them. In other words, like nothing that happened today needed to have thrown me off kilter. But I chose to allow them to throw me off kilter. And that's what I actually meant. Not that frustration and anger or being afraid are anything to be ashamed about or less than or whatever. They're part of an experience. The thing is, I chose to give myself over to them and stay in it, as opposed to feeling it and moving on and saying, okay, this is like a blip, or this is not the whole story of my life, and moving on and generating something different, because I always have the power to do that. I always have the power to come here, show up, and be in partnership with Jay and create something on the show, which is important to me, as opposed to being like, nothing works out. And
we say that,
you know.
We can say that, and I did the other day. It's like, okay, nothing works out. This universe is 2 + 2 = 4.
Right.
There's no God. There's no spirituality.
Right.
There's
and
no,
it's against me, kind of.
It's against you. And basically, unless you're doing the hard work, I call it like 9 to 5. You know, if I'm doing 9 to 5 and I'm doing my 401k, and that's the way that it was supposed to be from day one, and every single story about that was right, then I'm living my human side. I'm buying the interpretation that there's nothing I could do about it. This is just the way things are. The way
it's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is. I think that the other side is I own everything. I own it.
Yeah, I'm accountable and responsible.
I created every single relationship I've ever had I created the relationship I have with myself and the person in the mirror, and I am the only one that can shift that. I can shift that relationship. I can shift the interpretation of the relationship.
Yeah. That, I think, would be the distinction between like just the base human emotions and what are you going to do with it? Understanding that there is a choice in it. Yeah. And employing your higher self, because, you know, many practices say that we're a spiritual being having a human experience. So, you know, there's choice in that. We're not victims of circumstance. I certainly did not make that up. I don't want to take credit for it. I'm just requoting it. Having a human experience, and we're really, and I say that based on the fact that we are tasked here to learn. We are here to learn and to love and to, you know, experience everything that this life has to. You know, when Jay was going on his, you know, this is a raw deal thing. You know, I really checked in with myself. I'm like, what part of me believes that too? And then I was quiet with myself later on that evening. I do a lot of prayer, and you know, I have a big spiritual practice in that sense. And I checked in with myself, and you know, I was honest with. There is a part of me that is afraid that there could be a raw deal, and then just as quickly I remind myself, nah, when you were overlooking, you know, the French Riviera on that train ride, and when you remember like the things that I've experienced in my life, or like the nature, or things that I've seen, or feelings I've experienced, I'm like, nah, I'm not buying it. It's not a raw deal. It's all kinds of beautiful.
I was sharing,
and it's just a mix.
Sharing this concept of raw deal, because as much as we consider ourselves to be transformational, as much as we thought
on any given day, it depends on the
spiritual day. Unless you're practicing accountability, unless you're practicing it, because we were not,
no,
everything fell off. I mean, I started to believe in this is a raw deal more and more each day, and that war against all of the progress that I thought that I was making, and then I had to share with you. It was like it was an hour rant of this universe. And it was, I had it out with I cussed out the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, for an hour.
He was one unhappy man with the universe.
But that didn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. It didn't happen because I started to believe in every single thing that, every single time that one of my expectations was not met, I started to blame the universe.
Yeah.
And there's something about blaming that's fun.
Yeah.
There's something about blaming that makes sense.
Right.
Because there's something about taking it in and owning it.
Yeah.
That for me is hard to do.
Yeah.
And especially when you recognize that everything you're accountable for. Everything.
Yeah, it's
every relationship, what my bank account looks like, every single thing that I'm accountable for. So that takes stamina, it takes practice, and it takes a lot of compassion. And I wasn't exercising with that with myself.
Yeah. True. But the thing about blame is actually really funny. So as a coach, I also have a coach. And I went to my session with my coach last week sometime. And I said to her, oh, and I experienced this, X, Y, and Z, and blah, blah, blah. And then I got a little frustrated when I realized there was no one to blame. I couldn't even blame myself. It was just like one of those things, and I felt so empty inside because I couldn't go to my own trusted friend, blame. And it's a thing. We're addicted to blame. And when you grew up in a household such as mine, and I think you may be able to relate, and our audience could relate to, there was blame to go around. It was like, who done it? Who done it? Who was blamed for that? You know? So I grew up very much in that paradigm, and I realized that day I had no one else to blame. So a couple days later, I called my coach, and I was like, I finally realized I could blame Jay for X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I'm back to normal. I feel so much better. You know? I felt empty because I couldn't blame anyone for half a second. But anyway, all joking aside, that's a thing. You know, we have the habit of blame. And what do we do when those things are stripped away from us? So you've got, you rely on accountability and a higher power. We
can pick this up on the other side of the break, and we can also talk about some thoughts we had for the show, because we had some breakthroughs about that too. So we'd like to do that. So
yes.
We'll be
Thank you for staying with us.
Farrow Law Firm. Are you in default with your loan modification? Has your rate adjusted? We can help. Reach out to us today and we'll put our 10 years of foreclosure defense experience to work for you. Call us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the final segment of the Momentum Mindset Show.
Welcome back, everybody.
It's April.
If you all would just indulge me for 1 second. Today is my 17-year-old niece's prom, and I was supposed to be hair and makeup for her, and it didn't work out because of timing, and I'm in Delray, and she's in Plantation. She's got to go, but I just wanted to take a moment to wish Sophie a beautiful prom and all of her friends,
yes,
that
Sophie.
She has an amazing time, and yeah, so I love you, babe. Thank you guys for indulging me.
You're just awesome. See, these are the kinds of things that you think about and you have a talent for.
Thank you.
And I would say this. We've shared that we've gone through a difficult time in the last, couple of months. Financially, the way that the things turned out,
the way things are paid out, the way things are, a lot of different things.
Financially, but what caught up with us was the decision to transform the business. What caught up with us was the way that we planned for it. And, when things started showing up that we just thought, again, for the finish lines, I really believe that I had the lineup of cases. We're going to go bing, 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 bing. There's like 15 of them. And it's slower than that. And as soon as things didn't go as I wanted them to, everything else started to fall off, and including some of the things that we wanted to do for this show.
Yeah.
So Janine and I spoke to one of our coaches on Tuesday, and we had a powerful session on Wednesday to get the Momentum program going again. And we have a lot of work to do, because over the last couple months in this program, we've missed it. We weren't meeting. We have plans for the show. And then, then we poured everything into the law firm. And then the energy that I used for, things aren't showing up, and I quit, because I didn't hit my I thought the finish line was supposed to be March 11th. And then on that day, it was like everything was supposed to appear. Right. And that didn't happen. And it took some time to reset. It took some time to get back to what we're thinking about. Yeah. So I wanted to say that we're committed to this show. We're committed to making it to create a space on Fridays, and possibly maybe a time that we can create something where it's actually like a program on the show, where we can have a topic every single week, dealing with things from goal setting to things that we're talking about: blame, victim, how to get out of it and shift your way of being and become accountable on the show. It's something that we've thought about, but I got into my stuff. And when I'm in my stuff and I start thinking that this thing is a raw deal, well, of course it's going to be a raw deal, and I'm only going to give myself more evidence that this thing is that this whole life experience is a raw deal.
Right.
If I go around saying it, preaching it, practicing it, it's just the way that
and
life,
feeling it,
and
right?
Feeling it. And as soon as I really got into this yoga, I got to the gym again, I started to run again, I stopped eating sugar again. All of this stuff started to get me clarity to say, okay, let's get back on track. And then as soon as all of that happened, within hours, literally hours, we got a call from the coach and said, hey, what do you guys think? Let me support you to get back on track. We got different business opportunities.
Yeah.
And really, I had great ideas about what we can actually do for the show, next week and then the weeks following, because we have this space here. Janine and I are like, oh, well, what do we do in the world of personal development? Well, guess what? We're living it. We're actually we have a show. We have an audience. You guys are awesome, by the way. Thanks, Kim and Carol and Kimmy for
Thank you,
writing
everyone
in.
who's writing in. Yes.
And I know that a lot of you direct message me and thank you for all the support on Facebook. We have a voice and we have a space to bring our message, our experience of entrepreneurship, of lifeship, to the world, and we want to give it some love.
Yes.
And
attention.
And so we're sorry. I'm sorry that we just allowed that thought of raw deal. This isn't working for me, and I'm going to take my toys and go home. And now, but I'm owning that, and we're looking forward to creating something next week, which is going to be a little bit of a different format. And we really invite you guys to participate, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, it's a safe space to go through the process with us as we're going through the business transformation, the body's transformation, the life transformation, and go through any questions or anything else, and we'll provide the content to support you.
Right.
Because when I was thinking the other day, it's like, when am I going to get a chance to speak on stage? I'm like, Jay, what the heck do you do every single Friday on 5 o'clock? It's like it takes some time to actually see what's squarely right in front of my face, and to honor it and to love it. Because it's not what I expected, but if I look at it like, Jay, wait a second, you have multi-million dollars of business right now. You're just waiting for things to close.
Correct.
You have an audience of the world. I have almost 5,000 followers on Facebook.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
And it's like, well, what didn't happen on March 11th that you weren't expecting?
Even my former mother-in-law follows you and listens to the show, so it's a testament. You don't know who's listening, and it's really an honor for us to be in this space. And even though we've had our challenges and we've fallen off, I think that this, though, does speak into what transformation is. It's not a straight line. There is no finish line. It never ends. You're constantly growing and expanding, and life will throw challenges. Things will happen. And again, our point of view here is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Sometimes it's glorious and sometimes it's not. And how do you choose to show up in your own life in order to grow yourself, maximize what's going on with you and the things? And again, our experience shows that in transformation, there are hiccups. Only all the time. And guess what? You fall off, you get back on. You fall off, you get back on. We've discussed this before. It's the rocket ship getting to the moon, and it's an autocorrect the entire time.
It's not just autocorrect, but to get to the moon, you're in different stages.
This
part of the stages, you don't have an engine. It's just basically that one engine falls off, and the fuel that was even used to get you to the next level, it's a different type of fuel.
Right.
I'm really connected to the blessing that all of this is.
Yeah.
And
it really,
at the end of all of my posts and everything else, I truly believe that a solution-based message and through whatever I'm experiencing, I think solution. You know, what am I going to look at today? What work am I willing to do? My expectation got in the way of my heart being put into this.
Right.
Because I thought I only had to work this hard to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. But now it's like I want to know the feeling of putting my heart in it.
That's awesome. That's your next.
That's next level.
Yeah, it is. It is next level. Maybe even that's your Everest. Like, you know, because we all have one.
Right.
So might it feel like to put your heart and soul into something?
It's got to be amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting the chills right now thinking about the possibilities of what we can all create. When I say all, the people that are listening,
yeah,
you and I,
yeah, anyone who's
and create from this space as we go through the next year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on day 26 of year 2.
Of year 2.
And, you know, I continue to post. We're going to be here next week. And again, we're going to invite you during this week. It was one of our commitments is to promote the show.
Yep.
And to, and I know that we're going to have at least 3 callers next week. I'm calling it.
All right. Let's manifest that. That sounds amazing. So, absolutely.
And I wanted to say thank you for the conversation we did have the other day, where I was like, "This is a raw deal," because I was, as I'm going through this process, having an accountability buddy that was just not. She didn't stop me. She didn't in that hour where I was just saying, you know, this is da da da, and I'm gonna get the universe, and and then I'm gonna do this to the universe, and then I'm gonna, you know, she just sat there and listened to what my experience was without judgment. And that is the type of support that will get anybody to where they want to go. And I just want to acknowledge you for just being space for me and giving me the opportunity to get to where I'm at right now.
You're welcome. Thank you for always, entrusting me with your heart and mind. I mean, this is a huge honor for me. You'll get to know that. It really is, and it's something that I don't take lightly. It really is something that it's an honor. And and then there's a lot of prayer, like, oh dear Lord, please come to this man's heart. So I do my own little things with the information. But anyway, it's friendship.
Mom, I want to say specifically, thank you very much for the support and love that we both have had this week.
Honestly. For those of you who don't know, I don't have a mom anymore. She's in heaven, and she walks beside me, and she's in my heart constantly. But your mom has really been like a maternal figure for me, and I really appreciate her so much. So thank you, Sonia.
Person of the week.
Person of the week, Sonia Farrow.
And we will see you next week.
Thanks
for listening. Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us, please contact us on our Facebook page, The Momentum Mindset Show, or on our office phone line, which is 954-559-6987.
We are stronger together.
And remember, keep going.